A New Story, a detective real story. Fatima Khalid is a young beautiful girl who came from Wazan to Rabat after having graduated with honors. She chose to continue his studies in pharmacology. She succeeded the exam and start studying with great hope that one day would return to his small town, Wazan, to help ease the pain of patients. It was a beautiful dream what had since childhood. As we enjoyed our early years school, many of us dreamed of becoming doctors, teachers or pilots, and become professionals in all these noble professions. Fatima, then what was in his primary school in Wazan, was one of those who inherit these generation dreams in generation. In 2004, Fatima made progress significant in his career academic. She is now at the beginning of his last year. Soon the dream will become reality. On the evening of October 25, Fatima was passing near the train station road, when a black car pulled up stopped beside of her. The driver of the car was a young man with dark glasses over his eyes. Two other men with him have grabbed her and got her into the car. She tried to scream, but passers-by don't care about its cries despite their abundance. She was in the back seat when the car rolled up speed. Fatima remembers that her kidnappers had taken the direction of the road to Casablanca. She tried to convince them that she wasn't one of the girls on the sidewalk. That its kidnappers shelter everything that can him come to mind evil. Now she don't have choice but to follow them and try to collect as much information as possible about its captors and on the destination to which they surrender. She did everything she could for it. The dark, glassed driver in the car ordered his companions to blindfold Fatima. It seemed to him that he was their leader. She can no longer see. Fatima felt that they borrow an unpaved road. She tried to find out the distance by counting its rhythm cardiac when she counted 526 beats. The car got arrested. She heard the sound of a door in iron which opened. The roar of the car engine went away arrested. Have asked him to stay calm whether she wanted to stay alive were four young. They the until raped in turn and have call a fifth to join them. They have it brutally raped for 3 days. They have it guarded in turns so that she cannot escape. They have decided to get rid of her and, when they have it bring the eyes bandaged, they brought him out of this place of detention. Eyes bandaged, and got into the car. He opened the big door iron, then the car drove onto the unpaved road and onto the paved road. Then she quickly ran down one of the streets of the town of Tamara. They have throw Fatima on the ground and take the road. Fatima the poor surrendering account what East now la Bear. She thought of going to Wazan to inform her family of this what had suffered, but she is fast weary to fall this idea. How could she tell her family the disgrace that East arrival? She decided then from this return to the gendarmerie. The gendarme who received it inform what had to give him the names of the people who have him kidnapped then violated and specify the address of the place where all this happened then attach everything with a certificate medical proving that she was raped. Imagine the fact of this answer on the morals of the girl like Fatima. She that a few years ago barely hours, she was exposed to the most horrible thing she may live a woman. Fatima considered what the gendarmes tell him were saying as a shame and abomination towards him. Then she decided to seek the help of a lawyer, hoping that he would find an easy way to arrest and prosecute the perpetrators. But the lawyer informed of the same process as him to explain the gendarme. And it was a other shame now she only knows the ways legal to obtain his rights of those who have it assaulted or sown pitfalls, and so she has decided to take the opposite direction. She decided to avenge her dignity, no matter what. Him will cost. She ain't got much to lose, she lost her virginity and her no longer has the possibility of returning to Wazan to fulfill his dream of childhood. Fatima is returned home, gathered his forces and began planning to join his kidnappers on the morning of October. On the 29th, 4 days after the tragedy of his kidnapping. She wore clothes that her kidnappers could not recognize her whether she met them. She took over the place or she had Summer detained and raped. She reached the place or his kidnappers stopped for him, put on a blindfold. At 526 heartbeats she was near a large gate in iron, the gate of the house or she was detainee and gang members took turns raping her. She had a strange feeling mixed with anger and fear extreme. She wanted to know who the owner of the house was, and how she wondered, her gaze placed on the meter box electric. She there approached in a subscriber's serial number. She wrote down the number on a piece of paper, then she went back to Rabat to her room deep in thought. Now she wants to know who owns the number subscription. Fatima was a young woman with morals elegant. His good treatment of an employee of the electricity distribution company which comes at the end of each month extract the invoices. The next day she him request out of respect a favor. Give him information about the number owner of subscription. She said to him. A young man asked him for this hand, and since then she didn't know nothing from him. She recorded the number subscription for the connection electric and her wish get information additional on his family. After 2 days, the employee of the electricity and water supply company East came with information precious. He gave her the full name of the subscription owner. Now she is at the beginning of the road to pursue the leader of the gang who has him kidnapped and raped and destroyed her psyche and destroyed his dreams. She must now think 100 times over and over. She had to stay in her room for 2 days to prepare the details of the plan that she will follow for his revenge. Move him during these 2 days, retracing his life, step by step, from his childhood in Wazan and his dreams strange to the faculty of pharmacy of Rabat. Fatima made a specific arrangement for the gang members, in starting with the owner of the black car with the dark glasses. Will she be able to reach his goals in order to be practical in his plans? On the 3rd day she is disguised into a beggar man. She wore a worn dress and carried a plastic bag. She was spinning around the bin closest to the address what had obtained from the employee of the water and electricity distribution company. She was on a mission to monitor the premises, monitor the house. And here he is passing in front her. He sees her as a beggar rummaging in the trash. She overcame the explosion of anger that her. She knew that the one who had destroyed his life and torn his dreams was called Murad. She is part. Fatima is returned to her room in her solitude. She drew the details remainder of the next step. On that day, when the weather tends to be cold, Fatima wore his clothes usual as she was the day when she was kidnapped. She deliberately looked at as that. She collected its strengths and as went to Murad. Wearing the 2 dark glasses under the bell at the door, she read bin Othman's family. Now she know his full name as Murad bin Othman. She pressed the bell, one of the guards opened the door and he said, "You ask who?" She said what wanted Murad bin Othman and that she was his bride. She decided to give him a violent shock. loser all ability to organize his thoughts. Some seconds later, Murad is appeared at the door. Ask him to meet his parents to find a solution to what she did to him and his 4 friends. Murad, this human beast, has suddenly transformed in a person sweet who negotiated in order to persuade Fatima to refrain from meeting his parents. He agreed to discuss things calmly, he had else choice but to accept. He pulled the black car out of the garage, drove it alongside him and drove to the beach, but she surprised him in asking him to go home or she was raped and humiliated. He smiled with joy. On the way, she asked him to buy drinks for the quiet dialogue session between them. Shortly after, they were inside the house. She brought 2 glasses from the kitchen. As soon as she eased sitting on the chair in front of him, he found her brutality. Violence, but this time she was ready to face it quickly. On the chair we smiled at him, initiates it with a saturated drop of a narcotic substance and that she placed on her mouth a few seconds later until that he falls to the ground motionless. She dragged him into the room where he took her. Violated. She has it thrown on the bed, then they're stripped of all his clothes and with rope solid, they're brought with her. It's sitting next to him waiting for him to wake up and delete the effect of anesthesia little by little. Murad bin Othman regained consciousness and rendered account that he was attached and could not move. He has it begged as Fatima begged them when they have it was attached and could not move. He has it begged as Fatima begged them when they have it kidnapped and when they have it raped, but about this that he said, and from her purse she took out a tape recorder. It's the hour of truth, now she wanna interrogate him and record everything that he will say. Her purpose was not to turn the tape over to the police, but her purpose was the information she goes tell him about his friends who have participated in his abduction. She asked him to give her their names and addresses, but he tried to deceive her, but she was smarter. Under the light of the bedroom lamp, she approached her face lying on the bed, her hands bound and her feet closely linked, without any means of protection from the edge of the blade. Fatima bent down holding the blade between its fingers. Wounded him with the blade on his stomach. Soon he started bleeding. He didn't care about his cries when he has it deflowered, then she insisted again and again until would get enough information from him about his accomplices to have it raped and humiliated. Over time, injuries had covered significant areas of naked body. We left the room. Fatima wrote on the wall the number 1/5. She closed the door of the room and left the domain. She knew that Murad would return the soul after 1/4 hour. She crossed the path by which passed the farmers. When she went out to the paved road, she took a taxi and returned to her room in Rabat. She had a mixture of joy and anger. After having rested, she is about to take revenge on the second on the list. It is he who has it slapped. So what begged his kidnappers, then what was in the car? She learned from Murad bin Othman that her name is Assam al-Sawaidi. When he walked, he strutted about in his gait. In a stage expressing deliberately her arrogance with the mass of her body, she watched him for 3 days before taking action. Fatima has a remark that he sits a lot in a café on Alal bin Abdullah Street. He comes to the café every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She also has remark that he asks for mint green tea every day. The next day, Fatima will take revenge for her honor on the one who killed her, slapped her and participate in her rape. For 3 days, she follows her movements. Now the moment of revenge against Assam al-Sawaidi. She deliberately applied makeup cosmetics excessive on his face to disguise and hide her features, posing as a saleswoman who offered cafe visitors a new kind of toothpaste. She waits before the time when she takes action, and when she saw the cafe waiter heading to Assam's table wearing a tea tray, she changed the course of her tour among the customers of the cafe. Fatima approaches Assam and begins to climb his produced in a quick jest. She put drops of peas in the tea glass. He did not look at her. He ignored his products. His hand took the cup of tea. He drank one sip and put it on the table. The poison that Fatima had put in the cup had neither taste neither smell. It was a poison that kills. In silence, she withdrew without waking attention and went to the bathroom. She took off her makeup and changed her clothes. She went out, then took a chair not far from him. She could see him writhing in pain. She knew the poison was tearing her apart. His intestines, and that no one could help him. He is dead. The waiter hastened to hide the teapot and the cup from which Assam drank. When the civil protection men arrived, they could only see his death before she leaves the cafe, enjoying the crowd curious. She is back to the toilet. With lipstick. She wrote on the mirror the number 2/5, then she came out. She is returned home. There still has 3 on her list. She must take revenge on them. The third is called Samir. Samir al-Fatimi. Returning to the audio recording of Murad bin Othman, she extracted Samir's phone number. There was no need to watch him. He will come alone. She has it called and told him that his friend Murad wanted take him with another girlfriend to her. At the domain of Sidi Yahya. He didn't hesitate. She gave him appointment near the forest of Harhora. She came half an hour before the appointment. And the third of his rapists at the Sidi Yahya estate. When she saw him from afar, she went out towards him from among the trees waving his hands. He stopped and he opened the door of his car. He asked her as the other friend. She said that she would lead him there or she found herself. Fatima's features have it lured into the forest, and when the car pulled away arrested, she claimed what is silent relieved and that she was descended nearby. Samir was looking for a music cassette in the car. He was preparing for a night hot that he was waiting. At that moment, she surprised him in appearing before her car window. He smiled and rolled down the window. She surprised him in spraying on his face the same substance that was sprayed on of Murad bin Othman. He tried to catch his breath, but she poured half a liter gasoline on his head, then set fire. He was screaming, and the fire covered his whole body, and he, because of the narcotic substance, could not get out of it. Rid. And she left the place. She went to a mosque neighbor. She wanted to see what was going to happen. The firefighters arrived. The flames have burned large parts of the car. Samir was alive when he got out of the burning car, and he was rushed to Ibn Sina Hospital. He suffered burns on the 3rd degree, but it was in mindfulness when Fatima left Al-Harhora East Party. The judicial police was on the investigation of 2 other murders. The first was the murder of Murad bin Othman, and the second was Assam al-Sawaidi, and she now before other case, the Samir fire case. Before leaving, Fatima marked on the car the number 3/5 of the 5th. however, they have not been unable to decipher the mystery of these numbers fractional left by the author or perpetrators at the scene of the crime. Brigadier General Abd al-Rahman Dodar was assigned to investigate these crimes, which Summer serialized with the physician supervising Samir's treatment should him allow you to listen to it, so that he can say something useful to the investigation. The doctor gave him permission. Samir was in a very degraded state of health, but he managed to say that the three are the group of 5 who kidnapped a girl who raped her in turn and that she began to take revenge of them. He was decided to question the other 2, and Brigadier General Potter it's committed to convincing the prosecution to place them in detention provisionally, either on the basis of their confession, either considering them as witnesses. It was to protect them. 2 days later, Samir died of severe burns. And the information which he gave to the investigators were not enough to reach the 2 people threatened with reprisals. Samir presented names and the names of alleys in which they live. Not in stopping the author or the authors, and Fatima insisted that she would not rest only after to be avenged on those who remained among the 5. Others incidents have products in Rabat which occupied the priority of the interests of the police, but Fatima bin Khalid did not change this what had in mind. She had to reach the 4th on his list. His name is Khalid al-Matouk. After inquiries what she did, she concluded that he frequented one of the well-known bars where he spent a lot of money. Some of the girls turned away from him. Fatima intervened. She sat down at her table. After 2 hours, the wine took effect. She him asked to accompany him there or they were spending the night. In the woods and somewhere he stopped, that a night with full moon, Fatima sat on the hood of the car, it's leaning on him as whether she wanted to kiss her, but she put the drugs on her mouth and nose, and soon he was collapsed, he lost consciousness. She went out a rope from his bag. Next, she wrapped the rope around of one fat branch, then they're brought to the wheel, released the brakes of the car and drove it moved. Khalid al-Matouk's body was got up and he was almost naked. When he began to regain consciousness, she told him what was the girl he had raped with her companions. He was hanged. On the car Fatima wrote the number 4/5, then she left the place. Security interests have Summer shaken by serious crime. They had found the 5th person who raped Fatima. She tried to approach him, but it's rendered account that he was under surveillance. He had fear that he either killed, and he ended up becoming crazy. On May 31 of the year 2005 at the office of Brigadier General Abd al-Rahman, a letter East arrival. She was written of one writing clear, Sir. I am the girl who was raped by gang members. In some day I will be in a distant land. I will not return to my country. I will stay away. Fatima signed her letter that was sealed at Casablanca Airport. Thank you for your listen. Whether you liked the content, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you with the greetings.